And so, excuse me, got a little cold, but let's start off by saying Barakatham, Yahweh Shah. I don't want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem Kakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shout out to the whole flesh, start with the 144,000 Shalom. I was just sitting in here studying a little bit, but I wanted to get this lesson because it had hit me spiritually before I started studying, right? And you know, just wanted to get it done, through the spirit of probably how about Yahweh Shah, right? Because throughout all last week for real, there's a lot of things happen every day, but last week, I was seeing a lot of things in the sort of how can I put it, like with like worldly things happening, you know, Trump doing this and that, things of that nature, and it just really hit me in the spirit as I was saying here just now, it's going to the fact of measuring the times, seeing the signs, right? And that's to be the title of this lesson, measure the times, right? Uh, Let me see. This precept. Let me see. Matthew 16, and I started verse 1. Right? It says, the Pharisees, also the Sadducees, came and tempting desired him that he would show them a sign from heaven. And he answered and said unto him, when it is evening, ye say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red, and in the morning it will be foul weather today. For the sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky, but ye cannot discern the signs of the times, right? And brothers and the elders have done putting lessons on it, but it kind of hit me in the spirit because just like the brothers did a camp by this other day, having a 100% doctor, and you know, you got to be able to discern the times and discern the things that's going on. Romans 15:4, right? These things are written. These things are written 4 times for our learning, or other paraphrasing, right? Also, the book Habakkuk chapter 2, right? Write these things upon the table. It's a tarry, right? It's to surely come, or to paraphrasing, right? Because these prophecies are going to come to pass, and it's going to be things to show when these things come, right? And so you have to measure the times, man. You measure the times with these scriptures to, you know, um, to discern and what times we in to see what's going on. That's how you prepare yourself, right? You prepare yourself based on sports. Now I use a sports analogy, right? I used to play, play college football, right? So you wouldn't you wouldn't be you wouldn't be doing heavy training, right? A week before the season, right? Because what the time is football season. Right? You would do that heavy lifting and training, having being sore and all that from training. You would do that during the off season, during that time period, right? With closer towards the season, you start really calming it down. You start doing things to recover the body, to recover yourself, right? And that's what and that's how we moving spiritually, right? In the spiritual sense, right? We're getting in these times to where you need to get deeper and deeper into these scriptures, man. You need to get deeper and deeper into into your inward man, right? Because 2 Corinthians 4:16, right? The inward man renewed day by day, right? That's the paraphrasing, right? The flesh is weak. The flesh is going to continue to have you thinking that things are going to go on. They continue to have how you focus on the worldly things, for lack of better words, right? It's going to have you focus on the things that's going to distract you and like the scripture say, man, and that security, right? You work so hard, you going so hard, you trying to get this house, you trying to get this car, you gotta get these things. And granted, like we always say, man, you understand that You need things in this world to survive. You need a house, you need a car, things that you gotta have a job. But, you gotta discern the times and to see what's going on. Right? See, people don't pay no attention to this. People don't pay no attention to the things that's going on because they don't have the spiritual. They don't have the spiritual. They not measuring time with these scriptures, right? They're measuring the times through their feelings basically, right? How they feeling, right? People can be down and hurting. We feeling like everything going downhill, right? But as soon as you give them a little money, as soon as you give them a little thing of that nature, things back up and holly jolly with them, right? That's that fleshly thought, right? And I say that to say because in these last times, that's how the devil gonna come, right? You're making things hard, but what he gonna come out with? That chip, man, right? He gonna come out with that chip to try to get Jake uh, to try to get Jake to fall into that trap, basically, man. Try to get Jake to fall into that trap, cause that's gonna be a way he gonna, hey, man, you get this chip, hey, that car, that house, you'll be able to get this thing, right? But getting back to the title of hand, right? You gotta measure the times, right? You gotta be in these scriptures to discern, to see these things. Why the serpent harms as a dove, right? A lot of people not even say a lot. I ain't gonna say a lot of people. All these people lost, except the elect. They're lost, man. So the times that's going on and the things that's coming to pass, these people can't discern them. They're hypocrites, man. Like we just read Matthew 16. You can look at the sky, right? You can look at the sky, right, and see the weather, right? But you can't see the times and things that's going on to understand. But boy, that shows they're not in these scriptures, man. They're not in this book, right? So we're gonna read this right here. 2 Ezra 4 and 37. I don't know why I'm thinking of the book of Corinthians. Well, there might be a precept in there that come out, But 2 Ezra 4 and 37, he said, by measure hath he measured the times, and by number hath he numbered the times. And he doeth not move nor stir them until the said measure be fulfilled. And I got some notes on it what it says, right? He waiting on the elect to achieve his truth, right? But he says, by measure hath he measured the times, and by number hath he numbered the times. And he do not move nor stir them until the said measure be fulfilled. So you have to measure these times, right? We use these scriptures to measure the things that's going on around us, because everything's set, right? Everything's set, man. The prophecy's set, right? And they gonna come to pass, right? It might happen this and that. You don't know. We don't know that. You can't just call it the exact. Like, tomorrow this gonna happen. This gonna happen. But through the faith and spirit, how shall we understand it? All these things gonna come to pass, right? And that's what Yahweh told him. I can't fulfill the law, and all these things must come. Let me see. Where it might be. I know it's in fulfill the law. Bear with me. Matthew 5 and verse 18, right? It says, but verily I say unto you, to heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle, and shall in no wise pass from the law to all be fulfilled, right? That's what I got right here in my notes, man. He brought us back into that favor, right? That's a prophecy that had to be fulfilled. Yahweh Shai laying down for us, and bring us back to the fold of Yahweh Shai had to be fulfilled. But point being, the precept, right? And I read it again, right? It says, right at the end of the part, one jot or one tittle shall no wise pass from the law to all be fulfilled, right? And that's the thing. Everything has to be fulfilled, man, right? Just like him sitting down here, to bring that truth, right? And then what had to be fulfilled, he had to lay down. Just how we sacrifice, lamb, sheep, and goat. He understood that he had to be that sacrifice. He understood that he had to shed his blood for our nation, right? He understood that, right? What he told him. It's not all be fulfilled. It's not to all be fulfilled. It's not surpassed to the law to all be fulfilled, man. Right? So that's what you gotta understand, man. Ain't nothing gonna skip. It ain't gonna be no this happen, that happen. No, it ain't gonna be no that. Ain't no going around none of the prophecy. Ain't no going around nothing that the Most High said. Everything's gonna come to pass, right? But you had to have that spiritual. You had to have that spiritual. I had a spiritual sense to understand to measure the times, man. Right? Because you people out here just hollering, Johnny, doing whatever. Right? You got to measure the times. Right? Even like I said with the days of Noah. Right? No bit of it didn't rain back then. Right? It didn't rain out back then. Right? But just like today. Right? You got to think about it. It didn't rain back then, so you got to think Noah looked crazy building a boat. They're not worrying about why he building a boat. What is he building a boat for? Right? And that's what we're doing today. We building that spiritual boat, just like we building that spiritual temple, which I'm gonna bring out Revelations 11:1, which I'm going to, right? But we building that spiritual boat for that deliverance, man. We ready to get out here when the Most High come flood this place, fire and brimstone. He come destroy this place, man. Right? When Yahweh seen Yahweh shot back, right, to destroy this place, man. Right? We building that spiritual ark right now, right? And people looking at us confused, like, why are you doing that? Right? What you going on? Ain't nothing going on down here with you talking deliver. You talking about this and that finna happen. They finna Most High finna come destroy this place. Oh, the world ain't finna end for another such and such. Or this ain't gonna happen. Cause and the one thing, matter of fact, it just hit me, right? One thing people like to say, and I remember when you try to basically you talking to a brother, well, I ain't say you talking to a Jake or whatever, and you really like informing them like about the truth or whatever, right? And I don't be like, oh nah, man, they can't do nothing to us now, man. To me, it's too many of us. It's too many of us. We ain't going for that no more. We got the YNs. YNs got the guns. He got the things of that nature. Why do you think Trump just militarized the police department? See, people don't, but they don't see this thing. Oh, and Jake got so much. They got so much faith in those guns and those carnal weapons. They don't understand. This are all things that the Most High been said. They can't measure time to see these things. And Jacob Trouble is getting it. And the elder Pastor Rumlad, he had the lesson on this, right? The title of his lesson was the stage of Jacob Trouble is set, man. It's set. It's set, right? But they don't have the scriptures and the knowledge of Yahweh Shah through the spirit of power, Yahweh Shah, right? Through we see the knowledge through the prophets, right? The GMS with 100% truth, and they don't take heed to these things, right? They confused to these things, They don't be able to measure the time and see these things, right? Like I said, going back to the days of Noah, we seem stupid, right? We seem like the stupid ones right now. Like, what is he talking about? What is he saying, right? If the so-called white people finna do this, they finna do that. Oh, things of that nature, right? Um, and Jake look at us like we just talking out the side of our necks, man. But don't understand, right? They don't got the time they don't have the discernment, and they don't have the knowledge to be able to measure the times, the set, man. They don't got this knowledge to understand. They don't got knowledge to understand to measure these times, to understand that it's things that's being set, right? It's a whole blueprint to it. It's being put together piece by piece, right? And the signs go to show that once again, right? With the days of Noah, right? Every day he building the ark. He building the ark to prepare for that flood, right? Like the scripture said, the people was partying, they doing all this thing, giving in marriage, right? Until the flood came. Now they knocking at the door, banging on the door. Now they trying to let me in, right? But you hypocrites, right? You want to be the service time. You so caught up in the world, you so caught up in that flesh, right? That you ain't noticing these things. And that's how Jacob Trouble gonna hit these people, man. Jacob Trouble hit people just like that, boom, right? Just like the flood come, good, right? Jacob Trouble gonna hit them, and they gonna be hurt. Oh man, we ain't see this coming because you ain't measuring the times, man. You ain't paying attention to the signs and the things that's going on around you. You so caught up in it, right? Well, that's why that's why the saying, right? You gotta take a step, looking from the outside in, right? We on the outside of this world. We don't care about what's going on in this world, man. We on the outside looking in. Yeah, we here, but spiritually we're not in this world. We pay attention to all the things going on around us, see what's going on inside of it as well, right? We seeing these things, right? It's like Apostle Hart said this once, in the lesson he did, right? He was saying like, you gotta pay attention to these worldly things. He said not like he was, going to the sense of not like you intrude or you wanna be in it, say you got love for it, but to pay attention, like going to this lesson, to measure the time, to understand what's going on, right? These debates with these debates Trump be doing, these meetings he be doing, these other worldly things, that you gotta pay attention to those things, right? Because things of that nature be prophecy, man. Things that's gonna be past, that could be showing things get ready to come to pass. Once again, Matthew 16 is why he called them hypocrites, right? They don't be able to see these things, right? But that's why Yahweh Shah, he gave us elect his discernment he gave his elect to the spirit and understanding to know and see these things, right? Slakia, you say got a little stopped up nose. All right, I wanted to go to Revelation chapter 11, verse 1, right? And it says, and that was given me a reed like unto a rod. And the angel stood there rising and measured the temple of Yahweh and the altar them that worship therein. Right? So that reed's like it's a measuring stick, right? And the old is measuring stick, right? Reed was an ancient measuring stick. Right? And it says, and that was giving me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood saying, rise and measure the temple of Yahweh and the altar, and them that worship therein. Right? So we building that spiritual temple now, right? We building that spiritual temple now. We're not building the actual third temple, things of that nature, right? We building a spiritual temple, right? But you understand it, right? That reed, right? What we measure? How do we measure the block? Because the scriptures, 1 Peter 2:5, right, tell us, right, that we're those blocks to building that spiritual house, right? So how do we measure how tall this need? How do we measure what this need to be? How do we measure what this need to be? Through these scriptures, man. Through this knowledge and understanding, right? That you measure, you study, right? This is the blueprint of it, right? You know how you get a manual when you finna put something together, right? Things that's just for instance like a baby crib, right? You get a baby crib and they give you the manual, the instructions on it. It's the instructions, man, right? You got it right here in my notes, right? Now that we building a spiritual temple, a spiritual house or temple, the measuring stick is these scriptures, man. We measure things to our time. The precept, I quoted, right? Romans 15:4, right? Things are written for times for our learning, right? Just for instance, right? The book of Nahum, chapter 3, right? Let's talk about ancient Nineveh, right? The things that ancient Nineveh had going on, all the wickedness and all the fornication they had going on down there, right? That things apply to that. A lot of that stuff can apply to America today, right? So now, and we looking at it and we seeing that, this is the way the Most High destroy that place. That's how the Most High gonna destroy this place, right? And we look at those things. We look at those things to, like I said, the things that are written for time before I learned it. So therefore, we don't want to be part of the way how ancient Nineveh was, which is how America moving today, right? We don't want to be part of that, right? That's it right here. Let me show you something. Excuse me, right? Watch this. I want to show you what talk about that. Let's see. I was just looking at this when bear with me. Oh, here it is. Well, I was Nineveh in Evil City, right? And I'm gonna just read the highlighted part to get to the point. Well, I read the whole part, right? It says the chief city in the already brutal and wicked Assyrian Empire. Nineveh removed the noses and ears of prisoners to mark and mammon them for life, right? And it says, and like most Mesopotamian civilization, their cultures were immoral and generally terrifying. Temple, prostitution, child sacrifice, abortion, and emphasize. Where do you see that going on at today? right? What do you see that going on at today? Right here, right now. Right? What do you see that going on at today, man? Come on. Like, if men be ignorant, let them be ignorant. Right? But you're gonna be logical. What do you see that going on at today? Right here, right now. Right? So those things that were written for aforetime was up for our learning, right? And it was destroyed. And Nineveh was destroyed, man. Same place the Most High gonna come and destroy this place, right? So we got this book to be able to as we build in this spiritual temple, we gotta understand. Oh, that right there can't be a part of this. That right there can't be a part of it. That's why the truth's only for the elect. We ain't not here trying to gather everybody up in this house. Nah, man. Right? That's why it says keep your house in order. Right? You don't want to bring the righteous man in here because one wrong piece can make the house fall, man. Right? One wrong piece can mess it up. Right? Let me see. Might be spelling that word wrong. Right? This is what I want to bring out. I want the one that also say they can spoil the whole body. Let me see. All right. Well, we'll just read this one though, right? Because it's in the same sense, you know. But right, it says right here, right? Matthew 18:10. Take heed that despise not one of these little ones, for I say unto you that in heaven their angels do always behold the face. Wait, my bad. Salakia, reading at verse 8, Matthew 18:8. Wherefore, if thy hand or thy foot offend thee, cut them off and cast them from thee. It is better for thee to enter into the life of halt or mammon, meaning like, hurt things, that you got your hand cut off, things of that nature, right? It says, rather than having 2 hands or 2 feet to be cast to everlasting fire, right? So you don't want the wrong things. You don't want the wrong things around you. You don't want the wrong things around you, or, in the spiritual sense, you don't want the wrong things around you, or you don't want the wrong people in your house, man, because they can mess you up. It's better for you to cut it off. It's better for you to get rid of it, right? He says, if thy eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee. It's better for thee to enter life with 1 eye rather than having 2 eyes to be cast into cast into hellfire, right? So you gotta understand. You gotta get rid of those things, man. You gotta separate you. You don't want those things in your house. You don't want your thing. You don't want them things around you. So as we measure ourselves, we measure these times, as we measure ourselves through the scriptures, right? Because the scriptures is not this book, is the read, man. It's the measuring stick, right? We seeing these things. We seeing that you got to separate from this. You got to separate from that. Hey, time. Hey, we see this right here going on, things of that nature. And I was using like ancient Nineveh as a reference, right? Got to understand things that was going on back then. We see that, and we see that. Why do you think they teach you history, right? They teach you history, so therefore, that so they keep these things jotted down. So therefore, what? It's like people don't, people, the people don't repeat it, right? But you gotta understand, the history repeating itself. It ain't nothing. Ancient Nineveh is what is the same. Ancient Nineveh, the things that ancient Nineveh had going on is what the things that Babylon, which seriously America got going on today, right? All the nickel that's going on here, right? And but we got the scriptures to measure and to understand that we taking no parts in that. Once again, the same way ancient Nineveh was destroyed, America gonna be destroyed as well. For all the things that was going on, it's gonna be took down, right? So you gotta, but getting back to the point, you gotta use these scriptures to measure yourself, man. You gotta use these scriptures to understand the things that's going on around you. Good precept, Isaiah 33:6. Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is treasure, right? Because why? These scriptures is knowledge, what's understanding, measuring these scriptures, right? It's what's going to help you be able to discern these times, be able to be on point, be able to be, make, lack of better words, to make you be able to see these things, man. You're going to be able to see these things and have the knowledge and understanding. See, the people, they dumbed out. They bugged out. It's real. They bugged out, man. They don't see what's going on around them because they so caught up in it. Once again, you got to take that step back, get out of the ways of this world so you can see these things, so you can measure yourself right. The people ain't measuring themselves right. They measuring themselves off the, a lot of these people measuring themselves off the, my words always just leave my mind when I'm thinking, right? But they measure themselves off the, it just came to my mind, on the tip of my tongue, and just left again. But these people measure themselves off the, basically like, why does the word just keep slipping? Why would I finna say it? But, it's like, you know how you just have you have what they call a brain fart, whatever, things just clip your mind real quick. But these people, they measure their mind off off what the world try to say what it need to be. You know what I'm saying? They try to measure themselves of how the curriculum of the world need to be. You know what I'm saying? They try to measure themselves off the standard. That's what I'm looking for. They try to measure themselves off the standard of the world, man. You know what I'm saying? To be this, to be a man, this, and that's another thing. You got the women boiled out, men out here measuring it, men out here setting their standards to be a man around what a woman say, right? But if you get in the scriptures, right, you understand you measure yourself, right? And that's what's gonna be the title of the lesson, right? Measure the times of yourself through the scriptures, right? Because these people have to measure. You got people out here measuring themselves off the things of their own knowledge, off the standard of this world, man. And that's what's got the people so confused, got the people so riled up, because this world ain't nothing but iniquity and nothing but darkness right here, right? So they measure themselves not even knowing. They just measure themselves as more and more evil, destroying themselves more and more, right? And you see it, and you see it, and you see it daily, man. You know what I'm saying? You see it daily, right? Iniquity going all around, and people can measure themselves in it, right? It's a standard to be it's a real standard to be a stand-up guy, to be a killer, man, right? People measure themselves, but he's gangster, boy. He done killed 7, 8 people. He done killed 5 to 6 people, you know. And every time they play with him, he go shoot this up, he go do this and that. That's how the people measure themselves. Those are the standards. And Jake, man, those are the standards. When you measure yourself in the scripture, you understand and you see the wickedness in it. But when you in it, they don't see that. That's why the kids grow up so lost. They don't, because Jake's so caught up in that way, in that worldly way, right? And we know it's all going to be how about seeing how it's shot, right? Well, so you got to understand, right? When you got the spiritual sin, you got the spiritual know when he bring you into this truth, you got to be able to measure yourself through these scriptures, man. The prophet and ways of this world, right? Study so that self-approval, right? So you don't have no doubt. So you don't have that doubt. You don't have that way where you push that way out. You get rid of that way, right? But like I said, the spirit was on me to, get that done. I just wanted to go in on that a little bit, Lord willing. Lord willing was edifying, right? But you want to measure yourself through these scriptures, man. You want to measure the times of yourself through these scriptures. Not what men say, not what they say, not what these what they call scholars, philosophers, all that thing. No, man. You want to measure your time yourself through these scriptures, right? Spirit of prophecy, man. It's our testimony. Understanding and seeing the things going around, this is what's going to help you prepare yourself for when these times come. Because if you think you're going to overcome it by yourself, man, you're a damn fool. Only one who can redeem you or save you is who? Yahweh Shah. The way he told us in the curses, man. Right? Deuteronomy 28:68, right? No man shall buy you. No man shall save you. Nobody shall redeem you. Only one that can redeem us is Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah. Right? No man coming to the Father but through the Son, man. Right? So with that being said, holy lesson was edifying. Right? I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And shout out to the whole flesh. I with the 144,000. Shalom.